We have been working with the Romagnola breed, and we can see that it is the most viable alternative for producing meat in the lower tropics. Obtaining daily weight gains of 750 to 800 grams without supplements constitutes a very good result. The productive parameters have improved since we have begun including this breed, reaching rapid weight gains at the time of sale and better weights and quality at weaning. Let's talk a little about the origin of these breeds. These are Italian meat-producing breeds. The Romagnola and the Marchigiano come from Italy. They are ancient breeds. We're talking that the Romans were breeding these same animals 2,000 years ago. Their origins date back to the Roman conquest of modern-day Ukraine. So we're talking about a Cebu breed that originated in Eastern Europe and was adopted by the Romans, who began crossing them with native Italian breeds. And that started 2,000 years ago.
These breeds first arrived in the city of Bucaramanga in the province of Santander 12 years ago, when the Yaruma Ranch imported a breeding herd from the United States.
We are a family with a long tradition in ranching, and in the 80s we began raising pure Brahman cattle, and we managed to achieve a high degree of genetic quality.
Because of the wave of violence that affected Colombia in the 90s, the family was forced to abandon its cattle ranching business for a long time. They returned 15 years later, this time specializing in crossing Italian breeds.
We first encountered this breed approximately 14 years ago at the Houston Livestock Show. We were showcasing our Brahma cattle, and we coincided with the Romagnola exhibition, which immediately caught our attention, and we saw an opportunity to acquire breeding specimens of this breed. The decision by the Yaruma Cattle Ranch to import this breed to Colombia is due to the need to improve Colombian livestock to produce more meat in less time.
The ranch began its experimental work with the Romagnola breed by acquiring a lot of 20 heifers and 3 bulls.
By the time those animals arrived, since the Yaruma Ranch was looking for adaptability to the tropics, they took the herd to the town of San Alberto in the province of Cesar, where it's extremely hot and humid, because they were looking for a breed that could clearly show a great degree of adaptation. At that time, they were working with Simmental, Angus, and also Cebu. They began to perform crossbreeding, always by natural mounting of the cows by the bulls, and they observed that the F1 adapted very well. The purebreds also adapted very well to the high humidity conditions in the lower tropics. We saw immediate results with the first crosses. We obtained finishing weights that we had never before achieved with commercial Cebu cattle.
However, these first cattle, which were bred to American standards, had a few shortcomings, such as low milk production and animals that were too large for our environment. For that reason, Eudoro visited some livestock ranches in Italy and acquired semen from improved bulls to incorporate in his production.
We still experience certain difficulties due to the tropical climate. So then we saw the need to import semen for Marchigiana cattle for the purposes of improving the cattle's pelts, and we saw the results we expected within the first generation. As a result, right now we are working with a blend of Italian breeds composed of the Romagnola and the Marchigiano. The first series of trials were carried out more or less at the beginning of the millennium, in 2000 and 2001. Then, the Yaruma company decides to mass market this breed in Colombia. We currently have a purebred nucleus of 300 Romagnola specimens here, and between Valledupar and Santander, we have a purebred nucleus of 100 Marchigiana specimens. What is the difference between these two races? The Marchigiana, as I was saying before, these cattle are very hairy and their hair is relatively straight, all the while keeping the characteristic Romagnola traits such as black skin, white hair, resistance to ticks, and good skeletal structure. We have also gained some precocity with these crossbreeds. We have been stabilizing this crossbreed with 3/4 Marchigiana with 1/4 Romagnola blood.
Today we will visit two locations of the Yaruma cattle ranch. The first is the Guamito Hacienda, located in the town of Lebrija in the province of Santander.
This is a semi-intensive cattle ranch. As you can see in this rotation here, we are managing some cows that gave birth and some heifers. We make paddocks that are 2,500 square meters with electrified fences, and we rotate every 3 days. The pasture that we have here is the star of the show, thanks to its characteristics. The time they spend grazing in each paddock is 3 days in order to obtain the best results, and so that they can best take advantage of its nutrients. In this paddock, we only provide grass and supplement with 8% mineralized salts. The animals that go on to the feedlot are given 50% feed. We add a ration of palm kernel to commercially available feed in a ratio of 2:1. We feed adult animals approximately 2 to 2.5 kilos every day, and we feed the younger ones 1 kilo per day. We also administer very high quality water. We use purified water in our troughs, which gives us a large advantage.
It's indispensable for a cattle ranch that the people in charge have a sense of commitment, like to learn and innovate. And more importantly, they must feel a sense of passion about the countryside.
I love the countryside, and I love managing paddocks. I like to keep a good ventilation. I manage them in wide bands so that I can spread the food out over an extended area. Here we have at least 2,500 meters. In the 2,500 meters I manage, as you can see, 12 animals. Yes, we want to have good cattle and good meat. It may be the best cattle in the world, but if we don't feed them properly, well, they won't put on the weight. These cattle here can put on 800, 750 grams every day on just grass without the need for additional supplements. And that is something you can't find in other breeds. Something that we should emphasize when talking about increasing the productivity of cattle in semi-intensive operations is the type of nutrition we give to the animals. A lot of people, when you talk about nutrition, people immediately think of high-calorie, grain-based feed concentrate.
Eudoro's long trajectory in the cattle ranching business has taught him that the best way to feed his animals is to properly fertilize the pastures.
When we first divided out these paddocks, we fertilized with a combination of chicken manure and chemical fertilizer twice a year. Once at the start of rainy season on the first semester, and again at the end of the rainy season in the second semester. That way, you can use the pasture more efficiently and the improvements in weight gain are appreciable. We can see that we obtain the best results by nourishing the pasture so that it in turn can feed our livestock, and not the other way around, feeding the animals while the pastures remain degraded. That results in a drastic drop in the production of meat or milk, depending on the type of operation you are conducting. In order to tame the animals for the stable, I take them when they're 3 months old. I give them some food, and I take them very gently. Then, after 4 months have passed, I start to tie them down, to bathe them and handle them. I teach them to stand in a calm pose so that people can come and look at them, because a lot of people like to observe how the semi-stable cattle turn out. We don't keep them in the stable the whole time, stuck indoors all the time. We always take them out daily to feed on grass in the afternoon or in the morning, and that is how we raise them and tame them.
When the calves are 7 months old, they are branded, prepped, and given a daily supplement of 500 grams of palm kernel cake. When they turn 8 months, they are weaned and then taken off to the fields, where we continue to give that supplement for 2 months. Afterwards, we remove it to help make the transition from monogastric animal to a ruminant a little easier on them. This process is implemented in all sites of the Yaruma cattle ranch.
We generally record weaning weights well above 250 kilos under grazing conditions. We have seen a lot of heifers, and another lot that is further along of calved cows. Now we see this lot of heifers that just finished the weaning process. It is very important to observe the characteristics of these animals, such as the maternal ability they exhibit. We see animals with a wide pelvic area and very good hips, good aplomb, good depth down the middle line, a very clean line through the heart, very clean long necks with well-defined musculature, both in the rear as well as at shoulder level. Very well-formed breasts without fat deposits, all of which can point us to success in selecting these animals. As you can see in this lot, this is a lot of purebred specimens by absorption, a result of having worked with American bulls and later with semen imported from Italy. The calves are all obtained through insemination, and the cows are pregnant again with Italian bulls. The calves are now 7/8, meaning that they are practically pure by absorption.
Next, we visit the Puerto Nuevo Ranch in the town of Sabana de Torres, province of Santander. There, they work with the humidicula and Brachiaria decums grasses.
These cattle arrived at our ranch approximately 10 years ago through insemination, and we were able to produce a lot of F1s, and in some cases we have gone to 3/4. Here, we mostly handle F1 cattle. This lot of heifers that we see here, they are between 2.5 and 3 years old, already pregnant, and they've been raised naturally, only through grazing. Our insemination program has been with males to help induce heat naturally, or in some cases fixed-time artificial insemination, depending on the time of year. Ever since this breed joined this ranch, we have improved reproductive parameters, such as improved weaning weights, improved finishing weights, and improved heifer weights.
In this ranch, F1 males are weaned at approximately 30 to 32 kilos, and females at 25 kilos. These weights are well above what the ranch recorded in the past, using cebu cattle.
We are bull mounting the heifers when they are between 24 and 26 months, with a weight of approximately 400 to 500 kilos. These heifers have been raised on just grass and 8% salts. Our weights at the time of mounting are a little on the high side, since we know that in this climate it's counterproductive for the heifers to calve too early, since that will result in delaying the second pregnancy and the subsequent labor. So, we prefer to wait until their weight exceeds 400 kilos and they are 2 years old before we take them to a bull for mounting.
The heifers are raised here, and the calves are weaned the same as in the other site. After this, the replacement heifers we select will remain back here, and the rest of the animals will be sent to a site on the Magdalena River. The weather there is a little hotter than here because of the high humidity.
On the farm, we also handle crosses with Holstein cattle in order to produce breeders. Since we have an embryo program on this farm, we are currently producing approximately 250-300 embryos per year. We are now introducing the Beefmaster breed with the idea of creating a stable crossbreed where Bos Indicus blood remains at around 50%.
For Messias, his home is his greatest treasure. This man has always stood out because of his superior performance at work, and for being an example of industriousness, perseverance, and love of work.
I have 3 daughters, and I would very much like for them to learn a career. As I talk to them, as I often do, especially with the 2 oldest, who understand a little more, I tell them to focus on their studies so that they don't end up like me. I only got as far as the 3rd grade, but despite that, I feel proud. I feel everyone's support. They tell me I know a lot about these things, so I'm proud that I can offer them a career. Stand up, dear, and come over here now. Come over here now. You're going to master this, aren't you? You will one day master this bull.
I would like to become a vet so I can be like my dad and go to shows and help show livestock and help my family get ahead when I am older.
No, el celular no, ahorita, eso estamos arriendo ganado. Hágalo ver. Párelo.
I like to feed them, give them salt, and caress them. But calves are my absolute favorites. I love them.
Pero el ternero le gana, mi vida. Ternero le gana, mi amor.
I like going to the shows with my family, and I feel proud because of this.
sería un orgullo de los grandes, así no fueran todas, ¿sí? Pero quisiera que cuando
I would be immensely proud even if just one of my daughters were to follow in my footsteps.
Tráigame el balde.
Right now, I feel very proud of myself, and I feel that I have learned more than I had expected to. And I'm very proud of my bosses, particularly Don Eudoro, who has been very patient with me. I am grateful to him from the bottom of my heart, and I'm very proud of that.
Con Don Eudoro, que ha tenido mucha paciencia conmigo, que le agradezco a él y con todo el alma. Y eso es unas cosas que yo me siento muy orgulloso por eso, porque él me apoya en ese momento, que yo le digo.
Because he supports what I do. If I say, let's do something, he will say, let's see what the scientist says. We are working hard to overcome some of the shortcomings we have experienced with American cattle.
Sobre ciertas falencias que se nos habían presentado con el ganado americano, ya las hemos corregido.
We have corrected them with Italian genes, and right now we are more than satisfied with the genetic development we have achieved, and we're looking towards the future in order to build a better country.
Construir un país mejor, producir unos excedentes exportables que sean
We
viables.
can produce excellent product for export. We can be viable internationally.
Sino poder ofrecer una carne de calidad.
We don't have to just depend on our clients in Venezuela, but we can offer quality meat in large quantities so that we can establish a long-lasting and stable position for ourselves in the international market, in a market as tough as the international market. This is something we can never let go of. It's something we carry in our blood, and even in times of crisis, like right now,
Por ejemplo, en este momento que estamos pasando por una situación difícil los ganaderos,
when cattle ranchers are going through a difficult period, we have never thought of quitting this line of work.
ver cómo volteamos el negocio a nuestro favor para poder
Instead, we look for improvements, ways to get ahead, so that we can stay in the cattle ranching business. This is not improvised. You have to have a feel for it so that you can stay in the business.